Have you ever had one of those days where you keep seeing the same number over and over? Like on the clock, on a license plate, everywhere. Makes you wonder, right? Is that just a weird coincidence, or is it something more? Well, today we're going to try and decode the ancient practice of numerology, this belief that numbers hold the secret key to who we are, what our purpose is, and maybe even our destiny. So let's just dive right in. At its very heart, numerology is all about this idea that everything, and I mean everything, from the entire universe down to our own individual lives, can be understood through numbers. It's like there's this cosmic blueprint, a hidden code that's just waiting for us to crack it. And this really gets to the big question, doesn't it? Can the numbers that are tied to you, like your birthday or your name, actually have some kind of mystical connection to your life and what happens in it, or is it all just a really fascinating old superstition? Okay, so to even start to answer that, we first need to get a handle on what numerology actually is and where these ideas came from in the first place. Let's start with the absolute basics. So the textbook definition is basically any belief system that says there's a mystical link between numbers and what's happening around us. People who practice it believe that every number has its own unique vibration, and if we can just understand those vibrations, we can get some pretty deep insights into the world and, well, ourselves. And if any of this is starting to sound familiar, that's probably because this idea is all over pop culture. You've got thrillers where a single number is the key to solving the whole mystery, or TV shows where these weird numerical patterns connect a bunch of strangers. We see it all the time, this idea that numbers mean way more than just what they are. So how do people actually do this? How do they get your number? You might think it's some super complex formula, but it turns out the core calculations are actually surprisingly simple. Let's break down how it works. All right, one of the biggest, most important numbers in numerology is called the life path number. This one comes from your full date of birth, and the belief is that it lays out your entire life's journey, the big lessons you're here to learn, and the main purpose you're supposed to fulfill. And the process for finding it is really straightforward. You literally just add up every single digit of your birth date. If you end up with a two-digit number, like 34 in this example, you just add those two digits together. You keep doing that until you're left with a single number from 1 to 9. That's called your digital root. So for this birthday, the life path number is a 7. Now, the other big one is called the expression number, or sometimes the destiny number. This one isn't about when you were born, but what you were named. It's all based on the full name on your birth certificate, and it's supposed to represent all the natural gifts, talents, and potential you came into this world with. To figure that one out, numerologists use a system, like this chart here, to turn every letter of your name into a number. Then you just add up all those numbers using that same digital root method we just talked about. The key takeaway here is that both your birth date and your birth name are seen as the raw data for your personal cosmic code. But where did a system like this even come from? And, how does it stack up against modern scientific thinking? This is where things get really interesting. This idea that numbers have some kind of mystical meaning is ancient. We're talking Greek philosophers like Pythagoras, who thought math was actually more real than the physical world. Even early Christian thinkers like St. Augustine saw numbers as a kind of divine language. But it eventually fell out of favor with the church, and believe it or not, the word numerology wasn't even a thing until the early 1900s. And this quote from St. Augustine just shows you how deep these roots go. For centuries, some of the most brilliant minds in history genuinely believed that numbers were key to understanding the entire universe, a direct line to figuring out the truth of everything. So this all leads us to the fundamental conflict we have today. On one side, you have the belief that the numbers in your life are deeply meaningful, that they're part of a cosmic plan. And on the other side, you have the modern scientific view, which is pretty blunt. Numbers are just numbers. They're great for describing quantities, but they have zero hidden power to shape who you are or what happens to you. From that scientific perspective, numerology is what's known as a pseudoscience. And what that means is, while it might use numbers and charts that look systematic, it's not actually based on the scientific method. There's no testable evidence, no way to really prove its claims. And in fact, when numerology has been put to the test, well, the results speak for themselves. According to the research, there have only been 2 known controlled studies that looked into its claims, one in '93, another in 2012. And both of them came back with negative results, finding no evidence at all that numerology actually works. So, if the scientific evidence just isn't there, why does it feel like numerology is more popular now than ever before? This, to me, is the really fascinating part of the whole story. Why does this ancient belief system, with no real scientific backing, continue to not just survive but thrive in our modern world? What is it about us that it's tapping into? I mean, just take a quick look online. It has become a huge business. You can get 2-year forecasts, detailed relationship compatibility reports, full-on personality profiles, all of it promising to unlock the secrets that are supposedly hidden in your name and birthday. And maybe that's the real key right there. In a world that can feel so random and chaotic, numerology offers a sense of order. It gives us a framework to understand ourselves, it promises guidance when we feel totally lost, and maybe most importantly, it reinforces this comforting idea that our lives aren't random, that each of us has a special, unique path that's written in the stars, or in this case, in the numbers. So in the end, we're kind of left with a choice. Is numerology a window into some deeper truth that science just can't measure yet? Or is it a really powerful tool for self-reflection, where the real value isn't about predicting the future, but about the meaning we find in the patterns? The numbers are out there, but what they mean, well, that seems to be up to you.